One, a lot of the problems we have are still legacies of the COVID policies that this country did that did not work. And I think we just have to be honest about that, because we cannot go down this road again. When you stop the economy, when you pay people not to work, when you keep kids out of school, all of that has an effect. When you print trillions and trillions of dollars, that has a major, major impact. People were predicting that we would have the inflation that we've seen. And when the media says it's slowing, understand that's still adding on everything that's happened. And so you now have a situation where middle-class families working hard, playing by the rules, getting the most out of their God-given ability, are struggling to be able to raise families, to afford a house, to afford to purchase a new car. And if our country can't do well for those people who are doing everything right, we are just not going to be successful as a country. And so a lot of this has been government-driven. I look at the mortgage rates. We're now over 7, heading towards 8%. If you take the median home in this country 5 years ago and compare what that mortgage payment monthly would be to the median home today and the mortgage payment with these interest rates, it's over twice as much on a monthly basis. So how is that sustainable for having a strong middle class? And so we have to recognize government's role in putting us into this mess. The amount of money that the Congress has spent has been totally outrageous over the last 4 or 5 years. It has not been effective, and it's caused a lot of problems. The way government, particularly under Biden, operates, regulations, bureaucracy, that benefits big corporations, and it hurts small businesses, individual entrepreneurs, medium-sized businesses. It gives them a competitive advantage. Our country is going to succeed or not based on whether we can have small businesses thrive and individual entrepreneurs do well. So we're going to take that. I've already said on day one, all of Biden's executive orders and regulations are going in the trash can January 20th, 2025. That's going to be very, very positive. We also have an administration that's making a very conscious decision to adopt policies, left-wing policies, Green New Deal policies about energy, which are very destructive for the standard of living for the average American. And people are already seeing it now, but basically their message is that you have to just learn to deal with a lower standard of living, because they have all these things they need to do, to fight global warming and all that. Now, that doesn't involve John Kerry giving up his private jet, mind you, but they want you to be able to have to pay the piper on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to unleash all of our domestic energy production here in the United States, and we're going to be energy independent again. That's going to be a big relief to consumers. It's going to be a big relief to businesses. It's going to help our industrial base. I mean, permitting these pipelines is a no-brainer. It's adding industry. It's important. But it will be great for our national security. One of the things Biden did when he came in and went after our domestic energy, well, who does that help? It helps Russia, it helps Iran, it helps Venezuela, and it helps China. They want to force us into electric vehicles. The stuff that goes into that is produced, much of that is produced in China, and so it gives them a competitive advantage. We're energy independent. We'll be the #1 energy power in the world. We will have a huge advantage, not only economically, but in terms of national security, and I think you'll see that reflected in the standard of living of the average American. And then I think just what we've seen with our national security posture is we've got a problem on our hands with the Chinese Communist Party. This country embraced policy, be more markets for our manufacturing, even though China took most of our manufacturing, and that China would play by rules, but yet they manipulate their currency, they steal our technology, all that. So they're close to a peer competitor of ours. Their economy may pass us within the next 10 years based on the current course and trajectory. And the problem, I think that's a problem for us economically, because if they're the dominant economic power, that is going to be something that's going to be felt in the household of every American family, and it will affect our freedoms. But from a national security perspective, we've never had a competitor in our lifetimes that could match us economically. The Soviet Union's economy was basically a Potemkin village. Reagan understood this. That's why he spent them into bankruptcy. Even the Axis powers in World War II, the Allied powers had more economic might. So now you're in a situation where you're not only dealing with somebody that would have a peer and maybe even surpass us economically, but that our economy has been dependent upon their economy for things that are really, really important. You know, not just sneakers. We're getting pharmaceuticals. We're getting things that go into for our defense industrial base, things that you really need with for our national survival. So we've got to reevaluate a lot of what this country has been doing. You know, we need to refocus everything that we're doing about what's good for middle-class Americans. We're a country with an economy, not the other way around. American people are not just cogs in the wheel of some global economic enterprise. You're American citizens, citizens of a republic. And the job of policymakers is to protect your freedom, protect your ability to make the most of your own life, but provide opportunity so that you can get ahead again. And that's where we need to go. We're not going in that direction now. And when you see what's happening, it's really, really sad because so many of these problems have been self-inflicted.
Well said. So, you're about the first candidate to make the debate stage for next week in Milwaukee, and I guess the media would love to see the former president there with the rest of you. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I mean, how do you see the lay of the debate stage for next week?
Well, we're prepared either way. You know, it is what it is, and I think everyone should debate. If you qualify, I think you owe it to the people to put out your vision, to talk about your record, answer questions about your record and decisions that you may have made or not made. And if you're not willing to do that, then I think that people are not going to look kindly on that. So who knows what will end up happening. We'll be prepared either way. But I'm excited about doing it because most of what you do in this process is filtered through media, and seldom do you get the opportunity to speak directly to this many people. I mean, there'll probably be 10 million, maybe 50, who knows, maybe even more. So it gives you an opportunity to deliver your message and then to answer questions that are appropriate. I hope that we will be focused on the future of the country rather than some of the other static that's out there right now. Because a lot of the static, a lot of the things about looking backwards, that is not going to help us secure this border. That is not going to help these middle-class families who are struggling to even afford groceries. It's not going to help them get better. It's not going to help us be able to rein in these federal agencies that have abused their power. It's not going to help with any of that. What will help with all of that is if we're able to carry a message into the fall of 2024, holding Biden accountable for his failures and showing the American people how we're going to reverse this country's decline. And as the candidate, you know, I will be able to do that free, I think, of a lot of the other static that's out there and a lot of the inclination to look backwards. And there's nobody that wants us to be looking backwards more than the Democrats and the media. They would love to have us have to relitigate all this stuff from 2020, 2021, because what does that do? That lets Biden sit in his basement again, not have to answer questions or face scrutiny. I mean, they're not going to face scrutiny. Can you imagine? So, you know, you have these horrible fires in Hawaii. And, you know, my wife and I we did our honeymoon in Maui way back in the day. And so like, it's a great, great area, just utter devastation. And Biden, what is he doing? He ends up on the beach. And then he's asked about it, and he says, oh, no comment. Now, look, if a Republican had tried to do that, what do you think the media would do? They would go crazy. In fact, they would blame the Republican for the fires happening in the first place. We all know that that's the truth. So the fact that he's able to kind of skate by, it just shows you how this stuff will end up being. So it's really up to us to ensure that the 2024 election is a referendum on what actually matters for this country's future. And I think what actually matters is, you know, Biden's policies have failed. We're going to prosecute that case. and then we're going to offer a positive vision to get us out of the mess and to reverse the country's decline. If we do that,